Welcome to a new episode from our show, Anything Goes. I'm sure you have seen many of our episodes and we always receive your emails and we're very happy to always respond to them. One of the messages we received concerned, do looks matter? And the person who wrote the message, it seems she was a girl and she basically feels that she is not quite liked and a lot of people may prefer different people than her, and she's almost always on the side. We would like to discuss this, and I'm very honored to have my fellow youth with me here. I'm going to introduce them, Mark Angeli, Marina Botros, Caroline Nashid, and Michael Metri. They are all from St. Abraham Church, Long Island, New York. Welcome you all in the show. And I'll start by asking you, Mark. Sure. Do looks matter? You are a very handsome man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Not all youth are as privileged, but I want to see, do boys look at their fellow men that looks matter? And more importantly, and that's for the discussion for everybody, what about the girl? Would she only be looking at the look, at the outside, the external appearance, and when the inner self will be important? Please make it closer to you.
Sure. I think absolutely looks do matter. I mean, obviously, I can only speak from the men's point of view. I mean, you know, when you're attracted to someone, the first thing you see about them from across the room is looks. At the same time, over time, I think when you're looking for someone, you know, you want to know that you can talk to them as well. So the looks, it's sort of, you know, a temporary thing. It's not something you can rely on 100%. But yes, I think you do want someone who does look pleasing to you. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's not the end all, I believe.
I see. You have the mic. So what's your opinion, handsome man?
I definitely think looks do matter. Like Mark, first thing you see about the person is how they present themselves. So looks are definitely important, but at the same time, it's important to see what's behind the looks and like how they present themselves through their personality. So it's important that they show themselves that they're nice and kind and they present themselves in like an acceptable manner, so that they're not like mean or that they don't do things that you wouldn't like. And so both looks and personality and behind the looks is what is important as well.
Can you give it to Caroline? What do you think?
I definitely agree with them. I think looks matter, but I think it's really important to remember that looks is the first thing that attracts you to someone, but then even if they're very attractive and they have a horrible personality, that brings their looks down many levels.
Let us be very frank with each other. I mean, okay, if you are a very beautiful girl, boys may like to talk to you. But if there is anything defective in the way you look, okay, people may not like to talk to you. But what if you are trying to avoid something, like you are trying to cover up a defect? Can look still cover up? Can you cover up a defect in your personality by your look?
No, because eventually when you're attracted to someone because you want to see if there's something there, then it's not, you have to eventually get to know that person. So even if you're a very beautiful looking person and there's something wrong with your personality, it's going to shine through in the end.
Marina, what do you think?
I do agree, because like, for example, like someone looks well and like that's the first thing that you notice. You look at them and it's like, oh, okay. But then once you get to know them, you realize that no, that's not, that they're not the type of guy that you're actually looking for, or girl. So looks is the first thing that you do see, it's the first thing that you pick up on, but then there's a certain other like persona about someone, like the way they talk to others, the way they treat like children maybe, like the way they carry themselves. There's something different other than just looks. So it does matter, but it's a very small percentage.
Do looks matter? Yeah, to some extent. You can't look like a barbarian talking to girls, and the girl can't look like me. And you gotta do your part. Clean up, wear something nice. That's it.
I think looks do matter because that's like the first thing that you see. Like before you start actually talking and getting to know the first person, or like that person, that's the first thing that you see is their looks, how they look, how they dress, like, so that's the first thing that you see.
I think for some certain things looks matter, like when you want to present yourself to a person and like make good first impressions, but looks don't always matter. It's always the substance in a person that matters. If they're interesting, if you could connect with them, and if you can engage in like intellectual conversations.
They matter a little, yeah. I think every girl deserves a man who thinks that she's attractive, who finds her attractive, physically and especially like like internally. But and same thing with guys. I think a guy needs to feel as though he's attractive to his counterpart. So I think they matter. Do they matter? Are they a deal breaker? No, I don't think they should be a deal breaker at all.
Of course looks matter, but it's not the most important thing when it comes to finding a relationship with someone.
No, looks are not going to get you anywhere in life.
What is the look composed of? Is it really facial? Is it voice? Is it what? What attracts you to a certain person externally still?
Well, I think as we all kind of said already, sort of the superficial appearance, like when we notice someone's hair, are they in shape? Things like that. Do they smile? That's what we notice initially. But at the same time, I think what also sort of completes a person's look is how they carry themselves. Do they have like a positive personality? Do they defend those who are weaker or those who, don't have as many friends? Do they donate their time in the church and to charitable causes?
But I got all of that. That was almost repeated, but I'm kind of trying to get to a point which is there are certain people, boys and girls, who wants to attract people via a look. They may put more makeup, he may wear a shirt that's quite opened, he may grow a couple of muscles, things like that. But my point here is, how much are we selling? In other words, how are we deceiving, do you think, in our community? Do you think us, the two girls speak about girls, you speak about boys, or you can do the reverse. But are we deceiving others? Do I try to convey what I don't have, for example, by putting a certain makeup or behaving in a way that I'm a very laughable person, but I'm a very depressed person? I may joke around, although I'm very socially awkward. Do we deceive? Do you think this is common for people to have a deception via their look? Okay, you have the mic.
I think maybe when we're younger, maybe we do that a little, but I think as we get older, we realize that if you deceive someone, like the more you try to get to know that person, because they think that you're such like a funny person, they'll realize that that's not really who you are. So it really lands you in hot water eventually. I think if like I'm a type of the girl who puts on a lot of makeup and wears these types of clothes, I'm going to attract the wrong kind of guys that I know I don't want to attract. I think it's really important for girls to carry themselves the way that for the type of guy they want to attract.
I see.
Yeah.
Do matters look? Who wants to pick up from here? I have a verse that I would like to bring here, which St. Paul said, you are bought at a price, so glorify God in your body. Which, in a way, I'm trying to say, do people who use the looks only and stop at this level, are they really glorifying God with their appearance, or they are deceiving each other? Do looks deceive? And do looks matter? In your opinion, were you ever being deceived by outside appearance from a person who could be a close friend, a man or a woman. I'm not saying a gender here.
Yeah, I've definitely been deceived. Coming from a guy's perspective, like I'll see another guy and I'll see that he's like looking all big and buff, but then like when it comes to him being who he is, he's not who he is through his looks, because he's not overconfident. He'd be like shy, and he's scared to do certain things. So looks are deceiving. So a guy who is buff is not really, doesn't have a strong personality. So
Marina, some girls are popular because of their outside look. They are popular because they look very pretty, or they have a certain stigma about the way they appear. Do you miss, so let's assume you are not popular. Would a girl miss this popularity sort of cloud around her? Is that a pressure on your girlfriends?
I want to say yes, because I want to say, like, I'm going to go back to what Carlene said. There's a certain point in your life where for me, it was a little younger than I am now, where that mattered a lot. It mattered a lot whether you were popular or not, or if you're not, that would affect you. But once you grow, you get to the point where you realize that, yes, they're popular, but behind that, there's nothing there. So you don't feel so bad, because just be confident in what you've got, not what you don't have.
Okay, Mark, what do I do then if matters do look, to some people at least, and let's assume I don't have that look?
Well, I mean, it's tough, to be honest with you. I know in certain phases of my life, mainly when I was younger, where, you know, I felt I wasn't as popular, I wanted to be liked more. Part of it, I do think, is maturity, but even over time, I know it is a struggle for people. Over time, they feel they want to be more popular, more well-liked. I think, you know, if you do a few simple things, because it could be a vicious cycle. Like you feel bad about yourself, and then you don't smile as much around people, and it just, you know, keeps cycling around itself. So I think if you have even one close friend or even one close mentor who can kind of take an outside perspective and suggest to you just simple practical things like, okay, this is, you know, what you can improve about yourself. And at the same time, someone who can actually encourage you. Because, I mean, everyone on this earth deserves love and deserves affection from other people.
I'm kind of a bit confused of what you said. I mean, I need the practical things. There are people out there who they may not have the best looks, or they feel they are missing out compared to their other friends.
Sure.
They may be wrong, but that's their feeling. Give me one advice.
So for example, if, say we'll say a boy, he feels like doesn't have big enough muscles, or he's not attracting enough girls, maybe you can tell him to focus on his hobbies, for example. If he likes basketball, to get out, play basketball more with his fellow guy friends. And over time, you know, once he builds confidence through his hobbies, he can maybe talk with other girls. Maybe he doesn't have to jump romantically, take too many steps. He can start talking with girls, being friends with them. And then over time, as he builds his skills, he builds his confidence, his conversational skills, then he can mature and grow and take it to the next step.
So I'm going to take one answer from all of you. You said very good things, but one thing I'm going to pick on what you said. If I'm missing out on a certain outside feature, maybe I could add something that I could be clever in, like you suggested for boys, basketball, tennis, swimming, whatever. For girls, if I think I don't have the looks, what do you advise me?
I think that when you grow up, it's be yourself. I think being yourself is what's going to attract people in the end. Whenever it's the right time for anything, being yourself is what's going to attract people. If you really do feel like, oh, maybe I feel like my hair would look better this way, then take the practical steps. Like if you think your hair would look better this way, then cut it. Like, don't just sit there and be like, oh, I think I should do this, I think I should do this. If you really feel like there's something you really want to improve on, maybe you feel like maybe you could be in better shape, then go to the gym.
Excellent. So, improve in the physique. If the hair need to be styled in a different way, that's not a big deal. Do it.
Yeah.
But whom do I get advice from then? Remember, I'm already devoid of some of those cloud of friends.
Well, I think that you need to do what really makes you happy, because even if the outside is what you want it to look like, it's not going to shine through.
But I'm a little worried from what you're advising me. The reason is I could be overdoing things for me to be liked. And maybe I start piercing my nose, my ear, who knows what I'm piercing, in order for me to fit in or to be liked, because I am missing out something. So I'm adding up as per your advice, and all of a sudden I'm going in a track where maybe I'm accepted now, but maybe in 5 years from now I'll have a hole here I don't like to keep.
I mean, I definitely don't suggest going to the extreme. You have to remember to do everything in moderation.
Okay.
So that's really important. Like, there's a lot of different types of people out there and a lot of different looks out there. So you have to find what makes you happy, not what you know will make this person and this person happy. So
Okay.
everything in moderation.
Let me ask you, Mike, same question. We heard very good advices. Do looks matter? It looks like it matter, but not to a full extent. And we are here to try to advise those who think they are missing out. One advice was given by Mark, that try to compensate for a possible defect by catching up with a hobby or exercise or becoming more of a gym player or basketball. Caroline mentioned very nice thing. As a girl, go and fix something. If it's your hair, if you need to go to the gym. But at the same time, we made a notion that be careful, because you don't want to slide in a sort of a copycatting, and all of a sudden you find yourself depersonalized almost. Continue that road. As a boy, and you probably have seen some of your friends before, that they continued the path of fitting in and trying to have the looks which you don't have, trying to do overdoing things in order to have some looks. Talk to me about overdoing as a boy in order to become fitting in the outside appearance. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Okay.
First, I would suggest going to one of the servants in the church, someone that you could trust and someone that you know would give you the right advice, and someone that you know you'd accept his advice, someone that you love and someone that would be there for you. Go to them or go to her or whatever, and try to get advice from them. That's probably your best option, given that you shouldn't go to things outside that are internal, or go to hobbies or whatever, and do what makes you happy, but don't go to the extreme. Go to a sermon that you know that will give you good advice.
Marina, do you think you have an advice for a girl who may be missing out in some appearance? How can she compensate for that?
Well, I'm gonna definitely agree with Carlene and say that if it's something that you really think you need to work on it, go for it, work on it. Have an advisor, ask them what their opinion is. Just have them walk you through it. Have a goal, set it, meet the goal. And then if you meet the goal and you still think that there's something still wrong, then you might want to take a step back and be like, okay, so I met my goal, but I still feel like something is wrong. Then maybe you're being a little too harsh on yourself, and you should take a step back and kind of just like, reevaluate yourself. Just be like, okay, like I already set my goal and I accomplished it. I'm going to take a step back and like realize what other good things that I can do.
Okay. Before we lose the time of this episode, and I want to make sure that we are all caught in the same track. Do you think there may be an element of actually I am imagining that my looks are bad, but at the same time, it's all in my head. Would that happen? And if that's possible, what would you advise?
Absolutely. And sort of to piggyback what Marina sort of mentioned, kind of being too hard on yourself. Obviously, there has to be a bare minimum as far as, you know, you need to take care of yourself physically as far as hygiene and showering and, you know, getting a haircut, things like that. I do think our youth today, we are very superficial. We are very looks focused, not just on others. I would say much more so on ourselves. So I do think it's never as bad as it seems. We are very hard on ourselves. We are, you know, our own biggest critics. So I do think it does help to sort of ease up and kind of focus a lot more on your positives and not so much on your negatives.
Again, I'm going to pick on my young girls here. With all respect to you, I don't mean any of you. I don't know your families well. But I know of other Egyptian families that they will be so critical on their girls. You will never get married. Your look is like this. Nobody will look at you. Look at how you look. Look at your cousin, how she is. Look. My point here is, if I'm hearing so much criticism, sometimes from within, not even from my girls who are friends. Now, how do I defend that? Now, I am told by sometimes the closest of my family that I'm not going to get married because the looks, in their opinion, are not enough. How do I strengthen the inward self? I mean, we heard it from your point of view, but girls sometimes I feel may go through this even more. What do you think? I mean, any of you, I mean...
I was going to say, you're probably going to say the same thing.
Speak together then.
I was going to say quiet time. Like, quiet time is like, just sit and have time for yourself. With no one talking, no one saying anything, it's just you, and with a Bible open or with some sort of songs playing, like religious songs, and just God. And then just trying to figure out, like, am I really, like, is that true? Is what they're saying about me true? Like, do I need to change? Do I not need to change? Are they being a little harsh on me? And then if it gets, like, if the thought process gets out of hand, then I would go back to the
advisor.
To the advisor.
Okay.
I'm very blessed
Caroline.
that I didn't come from a family like that. My family's always been very supportive, but I think that I lost my train of thought.
I mean, I made this sort of disclaimer that
I know.
not you.
I understand.
But I'm sure you hear from other friends that they have this problem, or at least you may hear adults criticizing their closest girls.
I think it's really important for the girl to remember that God made her the way He made her for a reason. So every person, every single way that we are is for a reason. And I know it's really hard because girls do pick at themselves a little more than guys do. So I think it's really important. I know it's really hard at times, but I think it's really important that if your family's telling you this, go back to the Bible like Marina said. Like, God made you the way He made you for a reason. Find that one close friend. I know girls feel like it's very important to be popular and have multiple friends. I always tell my friends it's very important to have one or two very close friends that you know you can trust. Find that one friend, because that one friend is going to bring you up, even if your family is unfortunately bringing you down. Mm-hmm. So don't be so hard on yourself.
I think we said very good things. That one is sometimes we are more critical on ourselves than we should. Second, we said that looks may matter, but remember, it matters for the first half hour, first meeting, maybe second meeting, but never beyond that. Third, strengthen your weaknesses. So if you are weak in sports, strengthen that, because that will compensate for something you cannot help it. Mm-hmm. Help something you can help in. Straighten your hair, get some cream for acne. I'm not sure what it is, but something you can do, fix yourself if you can. And I think we touched on a very important topic. Do not believe always what people are criticizing upon. If God wants you to be blonde with blue eyes, He could have easily said so, and you would have been created such so. So for him to create you this way, the matter that you don't like, the looks that you don't like, in his eyes are very, very beautiful. And it's very important that we like ourselves, because that will give us the strength in order to avoid so much criticism within or without. And I want to end with this verse that all of you know in 1 Peter chapter 3. Do not let your adornment be of merely outwardly arranging the hair, wearing gold, or putting on the apparel. I mean, it was really talking to women, but it could apply. But then he starts speaking, but let your beauty is the inner beauty. And I want to end by telling all our friends there, even if you think do not have the best looks, you may think you may be wrong. But even if you don't have the best looks, remember you have an inner self that you can strengthen, and that's the beauty of what God created. I hope you enjoyed this episode from our show, Anything Goes. I really welcome your comments and questions, and until next time, have a blessed time, and thank you.